talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So today on the Keek on the Mic, I have a kind of interesting rumor going around the NFL regarding one of our players. So the rumor going around Chicago right now is that Robert Quinn trade may now have a destination in play. And before I go any further in this episode, this is just a rumor, so try not to get too excited. I know there's a lot of people, definitely Bears fans out there saying, you know, will the Bears trade Robert Quinn? So once Khalil Mack got traded, you know, back in March, I know a lot of Bears fans, including myself, were saying, well, will Robert Quinn get traded? Obviously, Ryan Poles is looking to unload large contracts with a lot of these older players, which makes a lot of sense. He's trying to make the roster younger, cheaper, right? And it makes a lot of sense. And when you look at Robert Quinn's contract, his cap hit is set at $17.4 million in 2022 and $18.2 million in 2023. So it's just continuing to go up. And we all have to realize that Quinn is also coming off an 18.5 sack season where he broke Richard Dent's single season sack record, so that was exciting. So his value is at an all-time high. So let me get more into the rumor that I was hearing over social media. So the rumor that is going around is that the Bears could trade Robert Quinn to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2022 third-round selection, which would be number 94 overall. And let me tell you, if this actually comes true, I wouldn't be opposed to the trade. When you look at what Ryan Poles is trying to accomplish, he's trying to unload these hefty contracts. And Robert Quinn obviously has a hefty contract. He is set to turn 32 in May. He's coming off an 18.5 season, so his value is at an all-time high. And then when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their situation, right? They are in desperate need of pass rush help. Obviously, they just got five extra picks by trading Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins. So I feel like this is a trade that would work for both sides. And added to the benefit of that is that Robert Quinn can go somewhere where he can actually contend. Obviously, the Bears are not in the stage to contend right now. So we are trying to add as much draft capital as possible for this upcoming draft, because I probably sound like a broken record. You guys probably hear all these Bears podcasts are saying the same thing as me. Ryan Poles wants to build through the draft. And there may be some of you guys out there saying, well, Robert Quinn fits Matt Eberflus' defense perfectly. And this may come up to Matt Eberflus. For example, when they traded Khalil Mack, it was a group decision, right? Everyone was in agreement to trade Khalil Mack. So I would expect the same thing when it comes to Robert Quinn, that it would have to be a group decision that everyone agrees on before actually trading Robert Quinn to the Kansas City Chiefs, for example. But when I look at it, and this was a lot of people's questions, is, well, if you're going to trade Khalil Mack, arguably the best defensive player that we've had in a long time, you are for sure trading Robert Quinn, right? But when people were asking Ryan Poles, specifically at the owners' meeting a couple weeks ago, he was very quiet about Robert Quinn. He just said, we haven't got to that point yet. So he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes, right? So it's kind of, there's a lot of question marks in regards to Robert Quinn. But personally, as a Bears fan, I understand that this season is probably not really about winning or contending in any way. It's just trying to build up the roster to eventually get to that point. But if we are able to get a top 100 pick for an aging player that's about to turn 32, that has a really high value right now, if I'm Ryan Poles, I probably make this trade in a heartbeat. And obviously, I'm not dumb to the fact that Robert Quinn can definitely help this team, right? He can help this pass rush. You know, obviously we have Travis Gibson and Al-Quadin Muhammad that we added to young pass rushers that are ready for a bigger role. But at the same time, I think if someone's offered me a top 100 pick to potentially get another good player in the NFL draft and to get more draft capital, I'm thinking that I'm going to accept the trade. And there actually has been a couple of other people saying that the Bears could possibly maybe get a third round pick and maybe a fourth and fifth as well. And I know a lot of you guys may say, oh no, there's no way that we get 2 picks. But when you look how well Robert Quinn played last season, his value, once again, is at an all-time high right now. It wasn't only the sacks. It was the constant pressures. He had, I think, 4 forced fumbles. He was all over the place. And you have to remember that Khalil Mack was out for most of the season. So Robert Quinn was doing this without a Khalil Mack on the other end. So that just makes it even more impressive what Robert Quinn was able to do last season. So overall, I think it would be a win-win for both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chicago Bears. The Kansas City Chiefs feel a big glaring need at the pass rusher department, and the Bears get extra draft capital to hopefully build through the draft and get some more young talent on this Chicago Bears roster. The last thing I wanted to add about trading Robert Quinn away is that not only will we gain extra draft capital for this year's NFL draft, we would save $4.4 million this year and at least $17 million in 2023 and 2024, and that's exactly what Ryan Poles is trying to do: gain more draft capital and gain more cap space for the future for the Chicago Bears. So, like always, Bears fans, I'm going to ask you guys this: would you guys trade Robert Quinn if the price was right? So, if the Kansas City Chiefs came and said, "Hey, we'll give you a 3rd round pick, number 94 overall," would you instantly trade Robert Quinn? Are you still a little hesitant? Do you think we should keep Robert Quinn for this upcoming season? Let me know down below in the comment section. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.